Some Gundam Style definitely is a good karaoke song to do.
All right, Eric. So everybody, again, thank you for joining us for Active Rain University in our special class about Google Plus. We have my friend, my colleague, Eric Prue. He's the social media manager for realestate.com. Eric, tell me, why are you most uniquely qualified to hold this position as the social media manager for realestate.com?
Well, Bob, it's a good thing you ask. I think it's because I'm under 25, and as that post once did, that community managers must be under the age of 25. So I believe that's my highest qualification. But beyond that, I'm an active learner, and I look to my good coworkers and friends, you and Chris Neese, to help me out along the way. So
Okay, so I'm gonna you have control of the presentation here. Take it away. Share with these folks what Google Plus is about, why they should be using it, and then, like I said, I'll come back in a little while, Eric, and we will fire some questions your way from some of the folks in the audience. So we'll talk to you soon.
awesome, thanks. And Bob, if you have any questions throughout this, please feel free to ask away, and I'll do my best to answer. So. All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much for joining. My name's Eric Prue. I'm the social media manager for realestate.com. I work very closely with Bob, so it was really cool for him to ask me to come on and talk about Google Plus, since Google Plus is kind of my trending thing right now. It's my favorite thing to do on social media, and I'm really excited to tell you guys why Google Plus is going to be the thing for you. So if you follow me on Facebook at all, I had originally kind of promoted this, and it's interesting to me because I talked to a lot of agents about Google Plus. I talked to them about, you know, the biggest thing is that who's on Google Plus, and people people don't really know too much about what Google Plus is, and now there's Facebook, there's Twitter, but now we can look beyond that, and there's more than that. And it's really important for everyone to know that even though you might hear me saying that Google Plus is a social network, it's really something important to know that Google Plus goes beyond just a social network. What Google Plus is it's a profile basically for Google to know who you are. And I know that's a little creepy because we're a little wary of people knowing, big corporations knowing who we are and everything, but it's important for Google to know who you are in order for the Google search algorithms to be able to find your stuff, to get people connected with you, especially if they're related to who you are. So, that being a real estate agent. All right, so 100 million active users. This is a number that I think is important to really kind of tell people about because, even though it's a huge number and even though, it's really putting it into perspective is kind of difficult to do. And again, people are talking about how Facebook reached its 1 billion profile count. I mean, that's great and everything, but really they have about 800 million active users compared to Google Plus's 100 million users. And a lot of people are kind of really unimpressed with this number. They're like 100 million users. But my question is that how? How can you be unimpressed with 100 million active users on a social network? Unless you're a big brand, I really don't know why you would need to interact beyond maybe 1,000 profiles. I know for me that that the 800 million users, I mean, that's fine. I don't really care as long as I have users to interact with. So saying that Google Plus is kind of a dead site, it's really not. It's really not true, and it's really not. It's really not something you should be taking away from when people talk about Google Plus. You can kind of dismiss them and say, "Hey, Eric said there's 100 million active users. Now it's just a matter of finding them and finding people who are active in your area or who you want to target and reach to." So really quickly, just so you guys know, these are the benefits I'm going to talk about. If you've attended Active Rain's university class before, you've already set up your Google authorship, so you know a little bit about that. I'm going to briefly talk about that, but again, that's been explained already before. The SEO benefits. Obviously, if we're talking about Google, we have to talk about SEO. I'm going to basically go into why Google Plus is a general overall better platform. I'm going to talk a little bit about profile optimization and what that means for how it affects search engine results. I'm going to talk about managing circles. Again, this is going to be the high-end level stuff in Google Plus Hangouts. For the last two, I'm really just going to kind of briefly skim over. Just I want to introduce you to the concept, but I really don't want to get too much because I want to cover kind of the big takeaway, and that is that Google Plus is awesome. All right, so the first thing I think is really important for people to know about when they're talking about social networks is who owns Google+. I know that sounds kind of a stupid question to ask, but it's really something I think people are really looking past, and that is Google, Google owns it. Google, the main river of search, the company with billions and billions of dollars, owns Google Plus, and they're promoting it. And so, it's interesting because when you talk about Google Plus, you have to talk about Google. And yeah, sure, we could talk about Facebook and how popular it is and everything, but remember, people go to Facebook to play. They go to Google to search. They Google to get their agent and all that stuff. And this is stuff you guys know, but it's just important to, again, really closely connect Google Plus and Google. So obviously, if Google is the company that owns it and they're the leading search engine, then Google Plus is going to be important to you and to everyone who wants to be seen for a Google search engine result page. So as I said before, Google Plus is Google itself. They're extending it across everything you do: search, ads, Chrome, Android, Maps, YouTube. All of this stuff is being incorporated into Google Plus. So really, again, this isn't a startup. This isn't something in the garage. This is Google. They have the backing for this. They have everything for it, and it's really important, again, to understand that Google Plus is going places, and it would be beneficial for you to be on board with it. All right, so really briefly, what I'm going to talk to you about is the SEO optimization. So you already know that if you connect your Google Plus account to a Google authorship, we've seen better click-through rates. We've seen better examples of people showing up higher because their profiles are connected to a blog post that they might share. But now I'm talking about the SEO part. I'm talking about, here at Google Plus, you have the power to kill two birds with one stone, and that is being socially active and then also keyword targeting. And it's really great because these are interweaved with one another. When you socially talk about something, and that social conversation is becoming your keywords. And again, I'll go more into it, but again, it's all about being public, so everyone can see, everyone can find out what you're talking about. And Laura, I'm sorry for if I I meant connecting your Google Plus profile to a Google authorship. Again, I think Bob talked about this earlier on, so maybe he can point you to that lecture soon. So, all right, to the internet. Let's go ahead and look at an example of how crafting your SaaS update is going to help you rank for keyword targeting. So let me pull up my Google Plus profile. All right, so here's my Google Plus profile. I'm not going to slow walk you through setting it up and everything, because I think that if anyone visits the Google homepage, you're going to be able to see that setting up a Google Plus profile is as easy as going to the top left-hand side and following the step-by-step instructions. And I'm not going to, again, go too much into that. I just want to get into the fun, meaty parts of it. So Google Plus is very similar to Facebook in terms of, you have your profile, you have your information, and you have your home stream. Now, for your About Profile section, when I was talking about profile optimization, it's important for when you edit your profile, you really keyword target what it is that your profession is about. And what I mean by that is that when people are searching on Google and possibly in Google Plus, that they're going to be looking, these introduction statement and the tagline is super, super important. When people search for realestate.com in Google Plus, I'm going to be ranking higher because that's in my tagline. It's not my introduction. I probably should have that there, but really, this is, again, you have to be constantly thinking about all the natural introduction type stuff you would normally do is going to be keyword targeted. So, got a few depth fans, I see. All right, so this is what I mean by in terms of when you sharing your Google Plus stats, how this is going to affect people who are circling you on Google. So let's say, for example, Bob Stewart, I think, is circled me on Google Plus, and that's cool. So if he's signed into his Google Plus account, then he's going to be seeing, and I'll show you again like what this means. So I'm going to, let's say, type about, man, sure is fun talking about Google Plus with active rain. Now, this might be a status you might normally see on Facebook or something along those lines, but really what the difference that this makes for Google is that I share this, and first of all, very important, I make it public. And when I share this status, it's going to be beyond just people who are in my circles now. Anyone can see this. Anyone can see that I shared this keyword status, and basically it's going to start affecting search engine result pages. And what I mean by that is that earlier on, I had my good friend Bob Stewart post about Seattle real estate. So when I search for Seattle real estate, and this is in my main Google search, so if I'm just a home buyer looking for Seattle real estate, let's say that's what they're searching for, guess who's going to show up on my first page? Oh, yes. Bob Stewart, who only 48 minutes ago typed in his profile, thinking now would be a great time to buy real estate down in the Soto area. I'll stay at your place when the Sox come back to town. And I really need to impress the importance of how amazing this is. There are 100 million users who are signed into a Google Plus account, and when they search in Google, their Google search is going to be directly affected by your Google Plus activity. This is huge. Bob Stewart, who's an important guy, but he ranked on my first page of Google search results simply because he had Seattle real estate in his status update. Now, can you imagine the possibilities for, let's say, Bob had shared a blog about how Seattle real estate's the place to, buy right now, and then all of a sudden, people are seeing that blog, they're clicking on it, they're being active, and they're talking about it. I think before they might have already shared with how it's important to to be posting constantly on Google Plus. And while this is important, if Bob, for example, had been promoting more frequently about Seattle real estate, it could be possible that he might go up higher. But really, an important thing to take away is that Google is taking social hints from Google Plus. Part of the new Google search algorithm is that they're really taking social interaction into play here. And if Bob had, let's say, a lot of +1s, a lot of comments on this SaaS update, it could be that he could be ranked higher. So posting isn't enough. You really need to be interactive. You need to get people to your profile and interacting with your posts.
Eric, can I ask you? Can I step in and ask you a question? Because Durrett
Yeah, sure.
asked probably the same question I have, and I admitted this to you, Eric, before we started, and I'm probably in the same boat as a lot of the people listening here. I'm not super familiar with Google Plus. At least it's not as familiar as I should be. So she asked, does that affect those that are in your circles, or those people that have you in their circle, or does it just affecting anybody that's logged into Google Plus and doing Google searches?
That's actually a really great question. So there's kind of two answers to that. And the first answer being is that because I have you in my circles, that's affecting my search results. You don't necessarily have to have me in your circles, but because you're in my top influence circle, which is just a regular circle I set up for, for friends and coworkers and all that stuff, because you're in that circle for me, you affect my search results. And that's actually a really good question. I'm sorry I didn't really explain that too well. Now, the second part to that answer would be, it affects right now. There is no really kind of point-by-point step where I can say, oh, okay, you post X amount of times on Google Plus, and it's going to affect people who aren't on Google Plus and their regular Google search results.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is that it's still a work in progress. Right now, we know that it's we really have to think of it as behind the scenes. This is going to be behind the scenes activity where eventually, if, for example, you're on Google Plus long enough, you have a lot of interaction with your posts, then you're going to start seeing people who aren't signed into Google Plus, who don't have a Google Plus account, you'll see their results page being affected. And again, it goes back to Google's taking into social interaction into account, and that's why it's good to get on it now and really start to get active. So it's a developing process. It's something hard to kind of promise because there's really no step-by-step stats I can give to you for that. So,
okay,
yeah. So that's again the power of crafting updates, and again it goes beyond for, let's say, when you post on Facebook, oh, I just showed a home to someone and we just closed or whatever. For Facebook that's great, people might read it, but really again, if you're in with Google Plus, if you're part of that 100 million user community and they have you in their circles, they're going to see your SaaS updates when they go search in their regular Google search, and that's huge, that's big. So I think it provides great incentive for people to get involved. what is the plus one? So the plus one is Google's version of a like. Basically, when you hit plus one, it's the same thing as liking. It's also search. It's also sending to Google that, oh, okay, well, this content or this website, this is good stuff. This is important to use. And it's again, another really gimmicky way to get people to like or plus one thing. So businesses can create Google Plus, can create a Google Plus page. I am not going to talk too much about creating a pages for now because I think that again, really kind of understanding Google from a personal standpoint is a lot more effective than starting off from a business side. So really kind of understanding how a person uses Google Plus is going to be a lot more important than from a page. But hopefully Bob will let me come back and talk again about pages. So all right, so that's basically again a huge incentive for your status updates are keyword targeted now. So when you post about when you post about your area, when you post about real estate, it's really going to be a great place, again, to be ranking for
So
keywords.
let me ask, so Eric, so I see, I don't know how many people. I have 500 in my circle, so I'm being exposed to the postings of 500 different folks, and a lot of them are Active Rain members. I
Yes.
When somebody posts something, so let's say I'm going to post my blog, and maybe I had written a post about the Seattle real estate market, and so instead of just, because we just did this as kind of a demonstration 20 minutes ago or whatever, if I post the blog, is it important that I add those keywords and that context in the text component? So it's not
Yeah.
just the link I'm posting, but that I actually go in there and explain to people, hey, this is a blog post about the Seattle real estate market and the how the market fared in October of 2012. Like, does that make a difference
Yes.
versus just going in there and posting a link and then just moving on my way?
Yes, that's actually a really, really great question. So, I'll just actually just do an example of sharing a link. So, this is from the realestate.com advice section. And it's about planting red clover and other cover crops. And basically, so you share your link as you would for Facebook. And yes, it's yes because in the description and for your link title, those keywords are going to be taken into account for when I search. So if you try searching for planting red clover or any of the keywords in my title or in my description, it is possible that I will rank here. But that's on the second priority compared to crafting your keyword stats. So it's not enough to just be copying the link to your blog and pasting it here. You really need to. You can't just say, "Oh, this is cool," and expect this to rank because what's really looking for is this right here is your status. So yes, it is important for when you share a link, you have a status update that goes along with it, talking about it, and really kind of uh, explaining what it is that you're about to share
Okay,
because
so
this is what's
you just
more
did
important.
something that I wouldn't have been intuitive to me. You posted the link in on the status update, which pulled the link or the kind of display of it down below, and then you went back and
Hmm.
erased it and added your own status update, right? Is that
Yes.
what that's what I just saw you do? Okay.
Yes, it's this is something that I think that for people who are familiar with Facebook, this is something you can do on Facebook as well. There is obviously some people who think that sharing the link is okay, and then you can add your keywords with it. I think it's a lot more clean to not include the link to my profile because when it shows up, or to my update, because when it shows up, this is all people really need to see
Right.
to click to go to it. So.
Okay.
But I hope that feature isn't too crazy because I think that's a Facebook one as well. So yeah, I mean, pretty much that's really what I wanted to cover in terms of crafting your status updates so they're keyword targeted. And again, this is gonna for everyone who has me in their circles, they're gonna be able to when they search in their regular Google search engine, my status keywords are gonna show up and be effective in their search results, and that's huge
Here's
for
something that I
Google.
think for everybody listening, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just if it's just in my circles, and I've only got 200 people in my circle, or I've only got 50, that's not going to impact it. And Eric had said, you know, it's just like Google's regular algorithm. They don't go out every day and say, hey, this is exactly what we're doing. And if you do these 5, 10, 15, 20 things exactly, you're going to rank number one. But I mean, the idea that search is moving towards social signals, they're not just your own social signals, right? The fact that, I mean, it's more important that the 200 people that you're connected to know what you're doing. But Google's taking a social profile across the entire web, right? So the
Yeah,
fact that you only have 50 people in your circle, and those would be the only 50 where it's going to get right into their results right away. You need to understand from the bigger picture that Google is looking at just social cues in general as a way to to filter out their search results and get a cleaner experience for everybody. Because from a social perspective, all the spam and the garbage websites and the stuff that scrape the internet and those things that Google's trying to get out of their results, those things are going to be weeded out as they realize there's not real people interacting and posting these things on Google Plus. So, if your circles aren't big, don't think about it just in terms of, oh, this would only rank for the 50 people that I have in my circle, right?
exactly.
There's a bigger kind of force at play here, and that idea of social search is kind of the pinnacle of search engine optimization right now that Google's moving towards.
Exactly. And as I said before, like Bob said, for those 50 people who are in your circles, if you get those 50 people actively engaging in every stats update, it's going to go beyond your 50. It's going to really, it's going to signal to Google that, hey, this person is really, really, they constantly get interaction about real estate. Let's go ahead and put them higher for regular search engine results. And again, it's the benefits there. And obviously, again, like it's really basic that, you should play in Google's sandbox. I mean, why for again, I'm not going to hate on Facebook. I love Facebook. Facebook's a lot of fun. But as a agent who's working full time and managing a social profile, really looking for a direct connection between lead to sale, like I would be on Google Plus as an agent, and I would be figuring out ways to keyword target and really be interactive there, because you're killing two birds with one stone. And as I said before, you have your social interaction where you can connect with clients, and then also you're going to be showing up in their search results page. So
I want to
it's
field the question that, because Tom's probably not the only person out there doing this, and I think it's important to understand. So Tom says, "Look, I just Googled, thinking now is a good time to buy Seattle real estate, and there's no sign of Bob's entry." Tom,
right.
I've made one time have I gone out to Google and said I know anything about or I talk anything about Seattle real estate. Over time, if I was a Seattle real estate agent and I was writing blog posts about Seattle real estate, and I was sharing that stuff on Google Plus, and I had some kind of interaction there, and there were a few people plus wanting my page, and I have my Google authorship set up, and I actually chatted everybody the link to the Google authorship webinar that we did and how to get that set up. But the cumulative of all of those things, if I was focused on Seattle real estate, it would be a lot more likely that the social signals would be being sent in order to move me somewhere, and I don't know that it necessarily be first page, because well, it might be, but I made one comment in the vast internet about Seattle real estate or thinking about buying Seattle real estate. The idea here becomes, you as a real estate agent, Tom, and I don't know where you're at, but let's say you were in Phoenix, right? Your blog posts are about Phoenix. Your interactions on Google Plus are about Phoenix. Your Google authorship ties back Google to content you've written about Phoenix. And as they begin to create this profile that you are worthy of ranking when somebody Googles good time to buy Phoenix real estate, that's the idea. Not just Eric was showing that for the demonstration purposes, that look, for the people you're connected to, you can impact those people right away.
Yep.
And so, we need to think about the ways we can go out and get connected with the folks that are using Google Plus, and they're in your circles. So I just wanted to kind of make that point that, look, one little thing that you do is not going to impact the results, but
The whole
across
internet.
across your body of work, right? Across your website, your blog posts you've written, your Google authorship, your continued updates, people, your actual interaction you're getting from people and plus ones. That's where you're going to start to see some impact on the regular Google search results. And if I can just, yeah, there's a bunch of really awesome questions in here, and I think this just
There
speaks,
are.
Eric, to the fact that a lot of people don't understand this, don't realize the power
Right.
of it. I'm not sure who it was. She says, "Well, why is Google Plus be any more popular if only 1/8 of the people in Facebook know about it, right? So you got 1/8 of the user base of Facebook, but it's like Eric said, it's tied to Google. Okay, all of those people that have a Facebook, they Google, or the vast majority of them do. I mean, Google is still sending 70% or 65% of the traffic to the greater internet. So it's one of those things where it's almost kind of ignore this at your own peril.
And again, it's interesting. I'm going to go back to the numbers that, yeah, there might be 800 million people on Facebook, but I mean, realistically, you're not going to be interacting with 800 million people. In fact, when I interact on the internet, most I interact with maybe 100 people. So this daunting idea of when people think that 800 million people with all the noise and all the status updates is a good thing, I just really, again, and this is another really interesting thing is when people say that there's no one on Google Plus. What you're really saying is that there's no one on Google Plus that you know. So ergo, you have 100 million people that you don't know that's active on some social platform. So isn't that about time? You get out there, you meet them, you make new friends, and you make new clients. Because again, I think that's when you get into talking about millions of people who know or are active about it, I think that's really kind of a moot point. So
This is a perfect
I
segue,
want to.
Eric. Take me in, okay? Take me in and show me how somebody would find other people that might be talking about things that would be of interest to a real estate agent, talking about areas that a real estate agent works. How do I go about finding other people on Google Plus that I can try to connect with?
I am so happy you asked that. And to begin with, I'm going to show you Facebook search. So now here where I'm on Facebook, you all can see my lovely Facebook homepage. And let's use Facebook search and find people who are in Seattle, Washington. And I want to go beyond people and places. I want to do status updates. All right, so let's see. I have people. That's cool. I can friend them, but really I can't interact with them first, right? I want to see their posts. I want to see what people are talking about. All right, let's go to public posts. Okay, I can see all the public posts now, but I can't interact. I don't know how I can reach out to these people who are talking about Seattle, Washington. Now, let's go search for Seattle in Google. And first of all, look who ranks for number one. It's Bob Stewart, who just recently talked about Seattle. And here's where you get kind of the really cool blend between Facebook and Twitter. So Facebook has the content, and Twitter has this kind of streaming thing that you can see going on right now. And really, like, it's great because here, all of a sudden, all these posts are people who have Seattle in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here. And again, this is kind of another cool thing is that you can pause and play this feed as you see, kind of fit. But remember before when I was talking about how, yeah, it's good to have it in your keyword as your status update. But again, you can also, as you can see, it shows up in the link description, or even further down here in the link itself. So it's really it's really a great way. And now for all these people who have Seattle in there, I can +1 them. I can talk to them. I can actively engage with all these people who I don't know but are somehow passionate about Seattle or are posting about Seattle, and it's great. And again, like I can look for people. I can switch from people and pages, where again this is looking for profiles with Seattle either as their keyword tagline, so in their introduction or in their tagline, as I talked about before, or in posts, as we can see that's streaming right now. And then Sparks, Hangouts, events, that's kind of, secondary things. Really what you're really looking for is the posts. And again, like you can hit play again, and it'll constantly be giving you either you can search best of, most recent, but it's really kind of a great way to get involved with people who are in Seattle. And what's even more great is you have save this search. And this is one of the best things I think Google has done, because let's say you find something that's really great and you want to save it. You hit save that search. Now, when you're back home page of Google and you see these filters that filter out between circles, so your friends, acquaintances, etc., now look what shows up in my saved keywords. And all I need to do is hit that save search thing, and it brings it up again.
Okay, I want to step in here for just a second because
Please do.
your guys, the real estate business is all about meeting people, right? Making contacts and meeting people. And I would have to venture a guess that there's some folks on here that do like niche marketing. You're looking to work with a particular sort of client. Let's say that you in the Seattle area, we have a lot of arts going on here. Let's say there's one agent here. Her name's Marlo Harris, and she's really in. Her and her husband are really in the art scene. And I was talking with Marlo a couple of weeks ago, and was talking about where does most of her business come from, and she was saying we do these art things, and we go to these fundraisers, and we do all this different stuff. I mean, she could essentially come here to Google Plus, save a search for Seattle and art, right? And she would have a
Hmm.
whole bunch of folks that she could interact with who were, and it's not hard sell, right? She's not jumping on there and saying, "Hey, are you thinking about buying or selling a house after you just sold your $1 million painting?" Right? But it gives you a chance to reach out and connect with people that
Exactly.
share similar interests to you, especially as it relates to how you market your business. So I want you guys to start thinking about like doing this sort of a search to find people around you, or to find people that have similar interests as you, or might be interested in types of properties that you market, or
Yes.
just really get your thinking caps on about how you can use that search, because I think this search functionality in here is a super powerful way to kind of connect with people on Google Plus that that otherwise you have had no chance to connect to your business.
Exactly, and it's an awesome way to to start that first conversation. And what's even better is that you can search things that you're passionate about. Like for right now, I'm passionate about, let's say, social media, and this is again pulling it. I'm sorry, I'm pulling it back from your guys' area of expertise to mine. But if I want to look at social media and find content or find what people are talking about social media, I love to engage with people who are talking about social media, and it's just great for me because now you know, Ariana Huffington's showing up. All this really cool stuff is showing up, and it's great content, and it's a great way for me to get in there and meet new people over similar interests. It's great. I mean, again, it's a cool thing, and I enjoy it. And most of my content, I will say now that I share on Facebook is from Google Plus. So if you guys want to skip the middleman and just get straight from the source, then check out Google Plus. So all right. So again, Google Plus is it's a huge topic, and there's so many things I haven't covered that like there's it's crazy. There's local, there's Hangouts, there's hashtags. I can't cover all of this all in the one thing, so I'm just gonna keep moving forward. But I would strongly encourage that you either email me, you contact me if you want to know anything more about this. I will be more than happy to get deeper into the interface. But right now, I'm gonna have to jump back and finish up this presentation.
All right, move on, Eric.
All
So,
right.
so many good questions, though. Oh my goodness.
So, again, I made this. We talked about this a little bit before, and people were talking about, all right, well, that's cute, that's all cute and everything, but where are the numbers? How am I going? How do I know? Like in this very title, when it says that I'm gonna guarantee you traffic to your website, and honestly, I really can't. And I know this is kind of a bummer coming down from that high, but I don't want to give you the illusion that being on Google Plus is suddenly going to make you a rock star, because honestly the numbers aren't there. The low referral traffic numbers, I just pulled this morning from Cheryl Hollick, but basically Google Plus claimed about 0.22% of internet referral traffic compared to Facebook's 26.4%. And it's a low number, and honestly, hopefully we'll be able to see more about that via Google Insights and Google Analytics for me to give you a harder number. But right now, that data is unavailable.
Here's what I have to say about that, though, is that Google knows that. You don't think that they don't know that that's the case. So
Yeah,
they're good. I just believe they're pulling everything they can do short of making Google Plus, completely integrated into their Google search. They're
right.
doing it. Like,
Right, and then also again, like I can't stress this enough that yeah, Facebook has that high referral numbers, but really, people don't go to Facebook to buy a home. They go to Google for that. They go to they start off on Google, and so you know beat them to it. Don't wait for Facebook where they're maybe further down the buying line, but really get them where they first start, and that's on Google search. So again, I'm going to tackle the two main reasons why people are hesitant about Google Plus. They don't have time for another social network, and no one is there. if you guys are full-time agents, I hear you. I understand. I know that the idea of creating a whole new social network from scratch is probably really daunting, especially since Facebook and Twitter probably consume what little free time you have. What I would recommend is that I want you to try just giving Google Plus a chance. And when I say that, I don't mean, giving it a chance in terms of setting up your profile and posting, X amount of times a day. What you really should do is you should spend 5 minutes a week, if that, or however much time you have allocated for your free time. But just spend 5 minutes. Do the explore, do the search. I'll go back and kind of re-highlight what those are. But I want you to see Google Plus as a good source of content. I don't want you to see it as another place where I have to, develop strategies around. I have to get friends for. I have to do all this circle strategy stuff. You don't even have to think about posting right now. I just want you to see the content and see the conversations. And this will address my second point in saying that no one is there. And it's really kind of, it makes me sad when people say no one is on Google Plus, because I'm on Google Plus. And I know a lot of people who are talking on Google Plus. And, again, like, there are people who are talking about their passions. And again, I think real estate agents are some of the most passionate people I've ever met. They're passionate about their area. They're passionate about their career. And again, I think Google Plus is a great place for you to really expand on that. So this is this is what I mean by, easy does it. Like, really don't be so overwhelmed with a finding another social network to have to tackle. So let's go ahead and show you what I mean by just seeing it as content. So if you have your Google Plus profile from the home page, actually I'll just show this from. So for people who maybe have set up their Google Plus profile but don't necessarily use it, this is another account I set up. It's a brand new account. I don't have anyone circled or anything like that. This is an empty account I first set up. And there are 3 places you can go to for content. And we've kind of looked at 2 already, but I'll just re-emphasize. So on the sidebar here, we have these cool splendiferous tabs. And if you look at the Neato one, which is Explore, this will show you what's trending on Google+. This is the most popular content that people are talking about, and for me anyway, it might be because it appeals to my geeky side, but there's a lot of geek stuff that I really enjoy. And you can, if you just take a minute and scroll through and see like, oh, what's the most trending stuff. And again, when we talk about there's no one on Google+, there's 452 people who +1 this. There's 74 comments, so that means people are talking about it. And there are people there, they're talking. And whether or not you choose to engage, that's fine, but know that there's engagement there that you could possibly get into. Again, like, looking through, you can look through the Explorer, see what that has to offer, and it's, again, a really great place to just see kind of what's the most trendy and most popular stuff on Google+. Very similar to Google Reader, actually. So the second being is just start typing. Start searching for things that you're interested in. It doesn't even have to be real estate related. If, let's say, you just want to take a break from, I don't want to keep targeting, targeting this or that. I just want to search for, let's say, Honey Boo Boo, because there are a lot of great Honey Boo Boo Halloween costumes. And then you have all these people who are talking about Honey Boo Boo, and you can jump in and start talking to people, engaging with them, letting them know that, hey, I'm interested in this too. Or if you just want to sit and watch, you can just sit and watch and see what people are talking about. If you choose to engage, that's great. But if not, again, you can just see what people are talking about, and then you can see what's interesting. Now, I told you I wouldn't get too much into hashtags, and I won't. But unlike Facebook, hashtags actually serve a purpose on Google+. They're more similar to Twitter that way in terms of being able to categorize what's popular and what's trending right now. So right now, obviously, Hurricane Sandy is the big thing. There's been a lot of social interaction about it, and if you click it, you can see that, again, Hurricane Sandy, all the the pictures, and this is actually kind of a depressing hashtag to look at. But again, like if you want to be part of the Hurricane Sandy, topic, then this hashtag is going to yield a lot of really popular the most popular things that are going on Google Plus within that hashtag. And you can see all the interesting kind of trending topics. They don't have to be hashtags, but again, if some of these are of interest to you, for example, I'm a huge fan of that Disney bought Star Wars. This is again a great place for me to look through and see, oh, look at that, they dressed up stormtroopers as Mickey Mouse or something. Again, it's a great social network platform because it just lays out everything so beautifully in such an interesting fashion. So those are the three ways: explore, search, and then trending hashtags or topics. That's really the first way that I would suggest people get into Google Plus. Again, don't feel the need to have some sort of interaction strategy. Feel free to participate if you want, but just get an idea, get a feel for the environment, and get a feel for what's going on and what conversations are happening. So this is when I was making this presentation, I found this to be kind of like an interesting post. And again, 3,000 people plus one did. I don't know about you guys, but just because there's not the 1 billion people on Facebook who are plus one in everything or liking everything I do, I would be happy if 3,000 people plus one something I did. So again, as I said before, explore, trending, search. And once again, looking at the benefits, Google authorship, Bob talked about this already, SEO play with your keyword status updates, better platform, as you can see, with in terms of finding the conversation and finding new people to connect with, profile optimization, setting up your profile so people can find you better, circle management, Google Plus Hangouts. These are the two. These deserve really topics of their own, but
Listen,
these are really
we're gonna come back, Eric. We're gonna come back and have you do some more, and because this is kind of, hey,
please.
get people excited. But we want to come back. We're gonna have Eric come back and do some more specific sorts of things. I also have another lady, Eleanor, who she told me her traffic's up like 550% after really mastering Google Plus
Oh
and
wow.
getting all of her contacts. And there's a way that you can like there's a lot of stuff that we can learn here. One of the kind of basic questions, and Rick had it, but I've seen a number of other people ask something similar, is how do you get others that you don't know to add you to their circles? Eric, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, so um, again, I really don't want to, really scare people in terms of friending strategy and all that stuff. But really, I would suggest, asking the question like, well, what do you do on Facebook? And even for Google Plus, it's not necessarily when I interact with people, the circling just comes naturally. It helps obviously to circle someone first because they see that you're interested. But really, like I've gotten so many circled from people just by interacting or commenting on something they've done. For example, the Star Wars Disney, excuse me, the Star Wars Disney deal that was so big a couple days back. I interacted on Mashable. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the online site, but it's a pretty popular, online news place, I guess. And they did a post about it, and I commented there. And there are people who liked my comment and then circled me on Google just from that sole reaction. I didn't do any sort of, uh, uh, asking them to circle me or messaging them or anything like that. It was just because we shared that same passion about Star Wars and Disney at the time. A great suggestion I would say is that if you're looking for people who are already like probably maybe within your area of expertise, you could start by looking at realestate.com Google Plus profile page. Not to be too promotional, but we do have about 2,000 to 3,000 people who have liked our page, and you can look through to see who circled us. You can maybe circle them. You can see what they're talking about. Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, all those places really do have have people in their circles, and again they're talking and you can interact with them there. So really the interaction would be a great way to get circles, and as I've shown with the search, it's a great way to find topics and interact with them there. But there's really no kind of method I can say in terms of, oh, you do this and someone's going to circle you. It's just really a matter of getting that interaction in. So
Okay, so sorry I cut you off, Eric. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, I really the last thing I want to cover is basically just say that all this is really overwhelming. My Bible for Google Plus, the thing I read every day, or not every day, but every time I'm about to talk or write about Google Plus, is from Guy Kawasaki, the founder of Alltop. I don't know if you guys are again familiar with it, but Alltop is sort of a content aggregation website, and he wrote this just awesome PDF file. It's pretty long. Right now, I got it for free at the very beginning. Right now, I think it's like $5 or whatever. But this is what the plus is like the best way to get. He really lays it out in terms of how to set it up step by step, and it's honestly one of my favorite things ever. I actually have a copy, and so if you want it for free, I don't think Guy will really mind so much if I send it to you. And if you want to read it, it's really great reading. It's a little long, and again, but it gives you such a detailed explanation of how Google Plus is set up, why it's awesome, and it's a really great book. So if you want, I'm gonna make my email available. But if you want, email me and I'll email it back to you. And it's really one of the best online PDF things I've read. So
So we have a chat area, you guys, that you can see, and I've been messaging out some different chat stuff to you. I sent out a link about setting up Google authorship, where we did a class on that previously. We're going to have you go over. We've been ending these calls recently with kind of homework, I guess you'd call it. Carrie would, bash me in the head if she heard that. Calls to action is, I guess, what we're supposed to call them. But the idea is we give you a few things that you can kind of go and do to let some of this stuff kind of sink in for you. So if you go to the plus.google.com, realestate.com page, I sent the link out to everybody in the chat section. Eric will have a link to the calls to action posted about 5 minutes after we get off this call. And then I also sent you guys the Guy Kawasaki What the Plus place, where it looks like you can buy it on Kindle for $2.99. But Eric said he's going to share his email address with you all, so you can ask him for it. Eric, what is that? You're a bold man.
oh, can I just put it in the chat? Will they see it there or?
Just say it. Are you scared?
Oh no, it's fine. All right, it's just Eric P at realestate.com. Just kind of a heads up, please don't email me with a headline in all caps or saying congratulations, because I will automatically put that in my junk email. So
So Eric, ERIC, the letter P.
ERIC, the letter P at marklear.com. I can't tell you, it's my Bible when it comes to Google Plus, and I always recommend people read it for more referencing. And I was very lucky enough to be one of the first ones to sort of get it on file. So
Yeah, Dick says
it's
you
a,
can
it's a
find
great
that
read.
you
And
can find What the Plus on Amazon for 99 cents for your Kindle.
oh, nice.
Um, Beth,
So
yeah,
if you guys are,
you're going to have to email Eric. So Eric P, it's either at realestate.com or at marketleader.com. Both of those email
yep,
addresses will find Eric. There
can
is a
I,
ton
here,
of
I'll
great
probably just type
questions.
it.
Okay, you can send it through the chat. There's a ton of great questions still coming through here. So what I'd like to do, because we were talking about Google Plus, I'd like to have you guys go to the realestate.com Google Plus page. If you have additional questions, Eric gave his email. You can send him questions that way. You can hopefully go to the Google Plus realestate.com page. You can ask your questions there. I promise you, we're going to come back because there's a lot going on here. Okay, the first step is let's get in there. Let's understand that this can have an impact. We can find people that share similar interests as us and have a chance to connect with them. We're going to bring Eric back. I've got Eleanor lined up in the next couple of weeks. We Google Plus is a big deal. I mean, I think, again, it's one of those things that feels like, it's just another social network. And I'll be quite honest, for me, it's been the same thing. I had somebody email me the other day, Bill Gassett, who's been doing a series of posts on Active Rain about Google Plus. And he sent me one and he's like, hey, here's another good one. I can't believe you're not more active on Google Plus. And so I'm a little bit embarrassed. That's why I actually listened in on Eric's call today. Normally I try to get some work done during these calls, but this one was really important. So thanks, Eric. Appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah, thank you, Bob. And do I have time to answer questions, or
Yeah,
are
you bet.
we pretty
Let's
much done?
we have 8 minutes, so if people want to stay here and there's a bunch of people that sent question in saying, please send me it. Here's my email address. Sorry, folks. You're going to have to go out and email Eric. These
You are.
questions get kind of hard to, there's a ton of them coming in, so they get hard for us to kind of keep track of on this side. Um,
I really would. I would encourage you to Facebook me, Google, preferably Google Plus me, or email me. If you're looking to directly send me a message on Google Plus, like for example, if I haven't added you and you added me, perhaps, then one way to do it, it's very similar again to Facebooking, how you send someone a message and you hit that at, and if you just start typing my name, I should show up and because I have a pretty unique last name and a pretty unique name in general, especially if you've already circled me. But send me a message that way. Say, hey, Eric, or whatever you like. If you prefer email, if you prefer Facebook, I think I have my number even listed on the homework thing. But if yeah, so if you're trying to find me on Google Plus, I think I'm the only active person on Google Plus with the name Eric Prue. Uh, so I should be the top. Not to toot my own horn too much, but I should be the top one you should find if you search on Google Plus's search engine. So
Eric, there was a ton of questions in here about the idea of the Google business page. I could
yes,
see on your screen where you're switching back and forth between like managing the realestate.com page and back to your personal page.
yes.
Um, you can manage all of that stuff from one Google account. Is that right?
Yes, and you can actually, for example, if you have a team. So this really quickly because I don't want to get too much into pages. But basically, you can create a new page really easily here. You can put your managers. So you can have multiple people managing the same page. Like for right now, we have these three people managing the realestate.com page. But it's a really great way to switch back and forth. I like it a lot better than Facebook's page manager section. But it's this is how you would switch back and forth between your business profile and your regular profile.
So Christina's question was, should I have two, like a personal email address and a business email address to set up two different accounts? No, I mean, and I don't even think
No,
you have to set up a personal profile, a personal Google Plus page, and from that page, then, like Eric showed us on the left-hand navigation, there's that pages option where you can then go in and create a business page or and again, it's going to be similar to Facebook. Is it going to be the best idea to like set up a page about your business, or would it be a better idea to set up a page about the county that you cover, or the town that you cover, or the subdivision that you're hoping to be the the go-to agent for? So yeah.
exactly. And again, without getting too much into the circle strategy, let's say for example, I would strongly recommend that you make everything public because this is about putting yourself out there and making new friends. So really, but there is an option of limiting your posts just like in Facebook for if you want to market to your list specifically. So for example, if I just want to talk to my friends, my personal friends saying, "Hey, I'm going out tonight. Who's with me?" That'll just show up to people who are in my friend circle. I really don't want to get too much into it because circles in themselves are beautiful. They're a majestic way of managing your friend list, and for clients, I can see it a great way to kind of put people through the stages of outreach to one touch to two touch to okay, this person's probably ready to make a sale. Again, I really wish I could talk about, it, but there are options to handling that. So
Here's been Eric for me and finding people to connect with that I don't do. You gave a couple of ways to kind of seek people out. What I've been doing is I use Gmail as my mail client. So
right.
whenever somebody connects to me, adds me to their circle, they send me an email, and in the email is them and then three
Mm-hmm.
more people that I might know, right? And so each time I just go through those, and if I know them, I circle them up. And so every single time I connect, so then I just did four people I connected to because Google sent the one person that connected to me and then three more. So I connect back, I circle
Mm-hmm.
back, then I circle three more. And then
Mm-hmm.
inevitably at some point later that day, one of those people circles me. And then I go back and I've got another three in there as a suggestion. And I've just started to build it up that way in terms of the people that I'm connecting with. And I've been pretty good. I was really bad in the beginning of Facebook in getting people into different lists and those sort of things.
Exactly.
But with Google, you have to do it. You have to put them in a certain circle. And so I've been real easy about, okay, this is somebody, this is a friend, these are my coworkers, these are people in the real estate industry, these are, just people around Seattle or Ann Arbor that I know. And so I've started to kind of build my circles out where I can take content and, if I'm talking about something going on or I'm going to be hanging out in Seattle, and again, I'm not doing this that often, but I would be able to
Right.
just target it at the people that it's applicable
Yeah.
to.
Yep. And you can do the same thing for Google Plus. It involves messing around with circles, but again, I'll handle that topic for another day.
Let me
So
ask Eric. So Don asked, can you, when you log in as you're using Google Plus as your business page, as realestate.com, is it similar
yes.
in how they have with Facebook now in that you can go in and actually interact with people as your business account
Okay.
or?
So that's a good question. For so I think that on Facebook when you sign in as a business page you can't interact with personal profiles. I think that's how it works on Facebook, and it's similar for realestate.com. I can interact as a page with pages who haven't circled me yet. So let's look at. I don't think I'm friends with Sears yet, or maybe Walmart. Maybe I am. Oh yeah, okay. So Sears is a page. You can see that it's a page because it has that lovely box next to it. But I can interact, I can comment, I can share anything that they share as a page. Versus, let's say, Lisa Noel, who's a person because she doesn't have that box next to her. I'm Yeah, I can't comment, I can't do anything like that unless she circles me first, and I can't circle her either. Again, pages are a topic of their own. I recommend just starting off from a personal page because unless they have their profile set up in a specific way, you'll be able to interact with anyone and everyone, pages and people alike. So
Somebody asked a question earlier. I can't find it in here now, but it was a good question. It actually had to do with Facebook, but I think the same thing applies to Google Plus. Is she basically said, I don't want to always be posting real estate listings and my blog posts to my personal
oh,
Facebook
don't.
page or to my. What are some ways, though? And maybe I'm setting this up to answer myself, but the question
Hmm.
was, what are some ways that I can kind of mention that I do real estate, let people know what's going on without being that person that's like, hey, look at my listing, look at my listing. You have any ideas about that?
Well, as with Facebook again, you would I don't appreciate when listings are the only thing I see from people as their SaaS update. What I would recommend is remember when we're talking about the SaaS update and we're making it public, you can just do discrete things like saying you can talk about your hometown, you can talk about the area you're working out of, but you can say, again, if you want to do just informative stuff about um, oh, I'm helping someone close a home right now in Seattle, Washington, or something, then just find ways to talk about what you're doing and share that as a status update. I mean, and really, that's I think a great way to do it. Like I talk about coding. I think recently I talked about a problem I was having in C++. I'm taking coding classes right now, and I got people commenting and talking because I just talked about coding, and people who were searching for the coding keywords or whatever saw my post and they interacted with me. So that's for me that's kind of a really great way to get the conversation started is just talking about what you do, and it's again telling Google who you are and letting yourself be transparent for people to find you. So that's how I'd recommend going about it. Circle management, again, circle friend, that's probably a topic for circle management, but I really wish I had time to do that, but we'll have to do that again some other time.
We'll
So
do a class. Well, are you looking at the question that said ideas for circles? Like, how do you
yes.
categorize them? I mean,
Yes.
a basic start. You want a basic start? I would make it, friends, acquaintances, clients or past clients, right? People I don't know, but I'd like to know. Right? I mean, there's a million ways you could do it, and you get to select what the
Yeah,
circles
actually,
are.
Actually, I'll go ahead and let you guys in on a little secret. So this is realestate.com, the page. You can certainly do this for any way that you want, but the way that I set up my circles for realestate.com is I have a lot of circles, and I've broken it up in terms of by brand name, by people versus pages, by news organizations, by people who are highly engaged, by people who are somewhat engaged, and people who've recently interacted with me. And again, this is how I've moved people from circle to circle. Is that if a high engaged person maybe isn't as engaged anymore, I would move them to the low engaged. You want to be if you're in realestate.com, if you're following us, you want to be in this circle right here because these are people I closely, closely follow and I interact with because I know that they're going to interact back with me. Um, but again, this is an example of how one might set up your circles. So, and Tiffany, you can send me a message. I think by let's see, um, just send it to my realestate.com or market layer website. So, and I'm going to get to interacting with all these Google Plus comments soon. So, thank you everyone for engaging. It makes me feel happy that you guys are on Google Plus.
All right. Okay. So here's the deal. Eric and I have jobs. You guys all have jobs. You got to get back to calling your clients and
Yes.
writing up offers and doing all the fun stuff you guys do. I appreciate you staying here. We're a couple minutes past the top of the hour. If you go over to the realestate.com Google Plus page here in the next 5 minutes, Eric will have some of those action items uploaded where you can go, just get a couple of steps to kind of get you started on this stuff. I promise we will be back with Eric. We'll be back with a couple of other folks to talk more about Google Plus here in the future. But if you don't start right now and start kind of messing around with it and get a little bit of a feel for it and start to get over there and get an idea of how it works, the next class we talk about is going to put you even further behind the curve. So get a chance to get in there and do that. Eric, man, thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob, for letting me come on. And guys, I look forward to connecting with you on the Plus.
See you all later. Bye-bye from Active Brain University. On behalf of Eric, Chris, Carrie, everybody back there behind the scenes, you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll see you soon at Active Brain University. Bye, everyone.